You were told to open up, you were told to share, you were told to be vulnerable, but every time you confide in her too much, something changes. She pulls away, her attraction fades, and today I'm going to explain exactly why oversharing destroys sexual polarity, kills attraction, and slowly erodes away your masculine frame. All based on real world psychology with years of experience in working with men and women in real world relationships. Okay, I'm Dr. Toney, and welcome back to the channel where clinical psychology meets red pill truth for navigating modern dating. I'm a licensed psychotherapist, PhD in clinical psychology, combat veteran, and a former psychology university professor with over 20 years of experience in working with people just like yourselves. Okay. Now, what I'm about to share today with you, it's not YouTube theory. This is all based on countless hours spent behind closed doors, hearing women actually think and feel about men who overshare, and further research on top of that. So, and trust me, most men have no idea how dangerous oversharing can be to their relationships. All right. So, I don't like to add a bunch of fluff, so let's just get into it. Okay. Um, why society lies to men about oversharing. We live in a culture that pushes men to open up more, to be what? More vulnerable. Of course, therapy culture promotes vulnerability, emotional vulnerability, and this constant sharing. Okay. This works in a clinical setting, but it backfires in romantic relationships. Okay. Women are biologically wired for emotional security, but so the issue if they're wired for emotional security, and what do you think our oversharing does when we're sharing all of our own vulnerabilities too much to well, do you need me to tell you? Well, some of you do. It destroys that emotional security. Okay. So when a man constantly shares his inner fears, his anxieties, his weaknesses, a woman's primal brain starts to question his strength, right? She said she may say that she wants emotional vulnerability, but what she really wants is emotional leadership. Okay, so we have to really look at that. It's not what she says that she wants. Okay, so we have to look at again. You have got to look at a woman's actions, not her words so much, and you just have to see if they're congruent. If they're congruent, fine. But there's not always that congruency, and that's what we're looking out for. The next part, we're looking at masculine frame versus emotional dumping. There's a difference. Okay, let's talk about it a bit more. So, masculine frame is a man that's calm, centered, controlled, and stable. Okay, oversharing is emotional dumping. It's handling, or rather, handing your burdens onto her, believe it or not. And this does trigger, or it can trigger in many women, an instinctive response. Where a woman might start to question and think, well, if he can't handle his own emotions, how can he handle me? How can he handle my emotions, my children's emotions? Or how can he handle the world? You know, so really, what you're doing by oversharing, you're transferring leadership away from yourself, and you're putting it on her, and she doesn't want that. Women want the man to lead. Okay, I'm not. There's women out there who want to be leaders, sure, but for the most part, it is written within a woman's DNA to be submissive. Believe it or not, it doesn't mean be a slave. It just means to allow the man to lead more. Okay, so the quicker that we can understand this, that we're going to avoid a lot of issues in a relationship. A lot of women, most will never verbalize it, but their attraction will shift. Okay. Some examples maybe from clinical practice, where I've counseled countless women who will tell me, I love him, but I don't feel that spark anymore. Okay, and the cause was his constant need to process emotions with her. Okay, and it's that sexual attraction can really be affected a lot by that. I mean, there's other things that affect it too, but this man who is doing everything the woman wants in terms of constantly sharing his feelings, holding her feelings, crying with her, looking at these rom-com movies together, romantic comedies, and it's not helping the woman. Okay, let's look at the next part, guys. All right, now before we go on to this part here, remember to like and subscribe if you're liking this content, okay? And also comment too to start a conversation about these things. I'd like to hear what all of you have to say. So now moving forward, you guys, so the difference between sharing and leading. Sharing is not the problem; it's how you share. I'm never saying don't share about your life. I'm not saying be some kind of enigma. I'm a psychotherapist. I should know something about this. I know the importance of sharing. I'm not a cold-hearted bastard that thinks, men that should just be a bunch of King Kongs beating their chest. I don't think like that at all. But it's how you do it that matters. Okay. If you communicate masculine communication, I'm going to call it that. It's brief, it's clear, it's calm. And here's some examples. Okay. All right, work has been stressful, but I've got a plan to manage it. Okay, well, so what did he say? Oh, how's your day, honey? Work. It's been stressful, but I've got a plan to manage it. So you have shared that, look, life hasn't been easy at work, but I've got it figured out. And hopefully you're not just saying that you do have it figured out. And that you have those tools to do that. But that's how we put it out there. Another example might be I've been thinking about a few things, but I can handle it. All right. You're being a bit vague, and I think that vagueness is your strength. Okay. But you're not completely closed off, but you're not going to open up the well either. Okay. You want to communicate strength, not desperation for comfort. Okay. Vulnerability is only attractive when it is controlled vulnerability. And this is kind of, it's vulnerability, but it's more controlled. You didn't sit down and break down and cry and flop on the floor and go through a box of Kleenex, right, about how horrible your life is or how bad your boss is treating you. You didn't do that, okay? But you did share. A woman will want to push you to share more, and it's up to you to know your limits as a man. To know it will not be appreciated down the line because she cannot feel attraction for you. It's almost impossible. It's kind of like if your wife was 5'3", 102 pounds. If she morphed into, well, same height and went to 300 pounds, you just would not feel that attracted to her. You may still love her, but that spark would go in a second. Well, that's the same way it is with us. It's just like we transformed. Okay, so just think of that. All right. So the next section of what we're talking about here, the female subconscious or unconscious mind. In psychology, we refer to those that interchangeably. Okay, so remember, female attraction is tied to security and survival. Oversharing signals a risk of weakness, it signals a lack of confidence, an inability to lead emotionally, and once again, eroding sexual polarity, turning you into more of a friend, or worse, a dependent. Okay, attraction happens at the subconscious level, not at a logical one. Okay, so here's like a battlefield analogy. So in combat, no soldier wants a leader who breaks down emotionally under pressure. Your woman, she really needs to feel that you are emotionally battle tested. Think about that, like what I said on the battlefield. If your commanding officer in the field, he's your field general, so to speak, you don't want him to lead you into a slaughter. Whatever you do, you want to feel that he knows how to get you through that situation so you can go back home at the end of your tour or at the end of the day, right? So it's the same way with a woman. She is looking on you for that leadership. Much as they hate to admit it, she's still doing it because feminism says don't let a man know that you still need him as a leader. Let him know actually that you don't need him. That's what feminism does out there for us, okay? But you now know better, okay? All right, moving on to the next section here. So, why oversharing creates resentment? Look, you guys, over time, women resent becoming your emotional caretaker. They don't want to do it. They feel pressure to hold you up emotionally, and this shifts the dynamic into a mother son relationship. And now she's mothering you. She hates that. The mother son dynamic is like instant death for sexual polarity. This resentment builds silently and slowly and insidiously, all right, while the man believes he's being open by doing the right thing by being open. Okay? So women, they're just not going to tell you, but they'll come to therapy and they'll tell me when they've lost that loving feeling. Okay? So look, Let's look at some moving forward. I know this is a lot. Let's look at some root causes here. Emotional neediness. Okay, oversharing is often driven by neediness, seeking a validation, reassurance, and emotional support. True masculine strength means you're being your own emotional anchor. When you need her for emotional stability, you lose your frame. Okay? She becomes a strong one, and nature doesn't reward that dynamic with lasting attraction. Okay? So, hey, we talked about how this all goes left and how it looks bad. Now, let's talk about in the end here how to fix it. All right? We need to process as men our emotions privately first. You can journal, you can have mentors, therapy, coaching. Okay? You're a tribe of men. You're good male friends. Okay? Your own war room. Okay? Not your woman. Don't use her for that. Like I said, it's okay to be vulnerable on a certain level, but it's control vulnerability. It's just not. It's not with the other stuff. Okay. You know, you want to share your outcome, not your own unresolved fears with her. Okay, if you do speak, be intentional uh, when it leads to solutions, not emotional validation. So that intentionality. Yeah, I'm going through some things at work, but I have a plan. I have solutions already in place. They don't need to know because you want to maintain that mystery. Okay, you don't need to reveal every internal struggle. That's what they need us for. We don't need them for that. So this helps you become emotionally self-sufficient. And look, I mean, yeah, it's self-sufficiency, but also look at these other areas that we're using: journaling, mentors, therapy, coaching, your tribe. Okay, so you're relying on different resources, not her. Okay, and you know, a man who can feel deeply but remain emotionally composed is infinitely attracted to women. Okay, so we want to be able to feel, right, to receive feelings from her and to share, but to share in that controlled manner, and that is very attractive, not the oversharing part, you guys. So that's all that I have for today, and I trust that you really learned something from this video. And I will see you guys in the next video. Okay.